Welcome back, guys. This is the Open Road Podcast, episode 2. I'm Ryan Bolstridge, team owner of Bolstridge Motorsports. You can find us on Facebook, and we also got a website that just launched today. It's in the description down below. We got a special guest here today. I also got my co-host here, Tanner Meyer.
Hello, all. As Ron said, I'm Tanner Marr. I am the co-host for the Open Road podcast, also the founder of Five Kings Motorsports. Not uh, don't have a website yet, but we're working on it. We've got a Facebook page. If you could just go give us a like. Today we have a very special guest. He is one of the main guys behind the entire Crooked Industries slash Crooked Line Racing. It's a crazy story, but to sum it all up, him and his friend Hat City Holler, they started this thing with just a dream and a vision. And before he knew it, he had created a community of over 300 plus members, including upwards to 170 plus drivers on the racing side of things. So let's put our hands together for James McLellan, please.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Welcome aboard, buddy.
Thank you, my pleasure.
You want to take things first, Tanner?
Sure, we can go that way. So, James, I know you pretty well. I've raced with you on here a lot and chatted with you a lot. Uh, First thing I want to know about you, I know we've spoke about it some. What is what do you do in your real life as far as jobs, hobbies, and whatnot? What's your everyday life outside of the sim world?
Well, job wise, I work for a company that does road and rail maintenance and traffic control. So I can do anything from just working on the roads to flagging for traffic control or repairing rail stuff. It changes all throughout the year. Right now, I'm working at the border, helping with traffic control due to COVID. Um, Outside of that, kids, family. I like the outdoors when I can, like four wheeling. I have a four wheeler here, and I'm lucky enough to live out in the woods, so it's easy to do. And gaming. I'm a diehard gamer. I have been for a long time, and mostly on the admin side. I spend a lot of time doing administration type stuff, and I love doing it.
Right on. And for those that don't know, James is actually he's from Canada, New Brunswick. So if you ever on his Facebook, you see he's really good at taking photos. I mean, he takes some amazing photos that you would think is professional. Like, I mean, he has some great stuff with the snow and just in general, just photos in general. Uh, I'll go ahead and ask another one just because I'm pretty interested myself. Whenever you started Crooked Industries, not even the racing portion of it, but just Crooked Industries in general, what was your and Hat City Holler? What was y'all's main goal with all this?
Well, at the time, we were running Crooked Charters, which is our flight sim group, and we'd been doing that for quite a while. Tim and I have been together, Hat City Hauler have been together for a long time. We've run Crooked Charters for about 6 or 7 years, and we just decided that we were not just flight simmers, we were sim gamers, and there was a lot of other things we played on the side, and we wanted everybody to feel included and not feel like they had to go hide somewhere to play a different sim game. So we decided to open it up, and we picked the sim games that we played the most, and we decided that was the way to go. And with the flying and the truck driving and the racing and the farming, those were, you know, shoe-ins for us because we all liked them, and we just expanded from there.
I mean, absolutely expanded. You did. I mean, y'all started this out with what, two people, and then slowly evolved into what it is now.
Yeah, Cricket Line Racing was really Arfie and I. Lauren Arfman started it together. He got me back into iRacing. I've been into iRacing since day one, pretty much, but off and on. And he got me interested in it again, and we played a bit. We decided it was time to start a league. And the first race, we had three guys, and we just said we're going to stick with it. The fun at first was Arfie and I racing against each other, and we didn't care whether it was just him and I or him and I and 40 guys. And we stuck it out, and you saw the growth. I mean, you weren't there at day one, but not too long after, and you've seen the growth go since.
Absolutely. We'll throw it over to Ryan, see what he has.
Uh, well, I want to ask a question that's kind of been burning in the back of my head for as long as I've been in this community. And it could be just a simple one, and it could be a little complex one. How does this logo came about? because I like it. It's got that cowboy robber kind of feel. If it's the way you guys were intended for it, or was it more for gangster kind of look? Because you kind of get the hat tilted a little bit with the bandana. I'm just curious of how that came about.
Well, the whole Crooked Charters part came out of Flight Sim, and I was thinking about starting a group, and I involved Tim in it and had City Holler, and I started on Crooked Island in the Bahamas. So we decided Crooked Charters was a good name, and we'd always flown in groups that were kind of, on the unlawful side of lawful and pretend and role play. Right? We always played the shady kind of guys,
Yeah,
and going from there, the Crooked Industries. I mean, it just we talked about whether we should change the name because a lot of people don't like it. It's misleading and makes them think we're bad or whatever. But we thought, no, we like it. We like the fact that it's a little misleading, and we came across that little pirate guy, and he was a perfect fit for it.
right on. I mean, I love the name of it because I mean, it kind of gives you that we're the villains kind of thing when you come into every kind of game, any kind of communities. But really deep down, we're just a great bunch of great gamers that just want to help each other. So I think it's good. Tanner.
Yeah, we like the mystique of it.
I I myself, I'm jealous of the Blue Bandit. I wish I had something like that. When I think of James, I immediately think of the Blue Bandit, and I mean it's it just fits. I don't know. It's just awesome. I love it.
It's burned into his name now.
Exactly.
Well, for me, it's always about promotion of the group, right? And you never see much about self promotion for me. It's always promoting the group and other people, and that's where I get my fun from. So it's just seemed to work well for promotion.
Yeah, when I did my logo, did it because I was just streaming alone. But now going into full time racing and making a race team, I kind of wish I added the motorsports to the logo originally to make it look legit. I thought about adding it on afterwards, and I can't seem to get it to fit right and make it look good. So I'm just leaving it as is. But logos come and go. It's you know, sometimes you just gotta stick with it, and what makes it look good and all. So
Yeah, you made your brand, rock it, stand proud with it, and just go with it.
yeah,
So speaking, yeah, I know y'all do a little bit of graphical work, James. You've I know firsthand you've designed your own cars and stuff like that. Uh, Speaking with people that do graphics, they always say that the job is never really done. So like when you finish the product on your side, when you see it, you'll see it different than how I see it. You'll see it like, hey, I can add this here, this there. Is that kind of true, even with logos and stuff like that, like what Ryan's saying?
That's true with everything we do: logos, websites, any type of design work. I find you're just never done. You're never happy. Not if you're a perfectionist. And
Right.
I'm very particular about how I do things. You guys know
Oh,
that. I'm
surely
always
not.
I'm always throwing out the corrections, and I expect things a certain way, and I have a certain level of standards to follow. And I learned that from guys that I've gamed with in the past. It's become a standard, and it, when you're like that, it's easy to find imperfection in your own work, even though others say how great it is.
And I'll be honest, when we invited new admins in, I told them, I said, James, he's not a dictator. He's not like that. He's not mean. He's not rude. But he built this from the ground up. This is his baby, and he built it a certain way, and that's why it is as successful as it is right now. And so we try to carry on that as well. But you were definitely a perfectionist, and that's a good thing. That's not a flaw by no means.
yeah,
Yeah, I try and balance it between, I want my admins to have some freedom and be able to express themselves and do their thing. But there's still a standard there, and it's easy to drift away from that. And I understand that at times we all get, into our own rut. But
Some
it's,
of us more than others.
yeah, it happens. But, it's kind of somebody has to oversee the whole project. And I don't like to play God, but you have to, somebody has to make decisions and keep things in line.
yeah.
Absolutely. So we touched on some sim games that y'all were talking about as far as flight sim, truck sim. Out of all the sim type games that you have played throughout your years of gaming, if you could constantly go back and just play one and never get bored with it, never get tired of it, what sim do you think that would be?
Really, I mean, it's kind of a cop out answer, but there isn't one because, and this is why we open up to multiple sims, is because you'll all experience it at some point in time, and we call it burnout.
Yep.
You play one so much that you get to the point where it's just okay. I need a break from this because I'm not having fun anymore.
Right.
So to pick one is impossible. That's why I picked four of them.
As far okay, well, that's a pretty solid answer because I know myself and Joshua are experiencing this with the racing sim right now. We're burnt out. We're still committed to it, but as far as official races stuff like that, they're not existing anymore. We just don't do them anymore. I do my league races, I handle my admin stuff, and I'm done for the night. So with that said, which sim do you think has the most broadest appeal of like there's never it's a never ending stuff to do? I would think maybe flight sim, especially with the new Microsoft flight sim that I tried. Seems like you can go across the world.
Yeah, if you become knowledgeable about Sims, Flight Sim definitely offers the most. When you first open up the box and install it, and you're kind of new to it, you're kind of limited to what you do. But as you learn more and you talk to experienced guys, there's so many options to it and so many different things you can do with it. I mean, I could sit here for an hour and tell you every different thing we could do and still not even scratch the surface. So, depth wise, Flight Sim's definitely the way to go.
And so behind the scenes, I downloaded Flight Sim from y'all's recommendation. I seen y'all having so much fun with it, and like you just said, the beginner just out of the box. I couldn't experience it how y'all experienced it, and I gave up. But then I see screenshots stuff like that, like it's the most realistic sim I've ever seen, and
It,
it's insane the amount of details that's in Microsoft Flight Sim.
it's crazy.
But it's a sim that's not necessarily for everybody too, because it's a very slow kind of. There's it's not much of a game, right? You have to make your
It's a
game.
simulator, right?
Yeah, and that's what we use other things like FS Economy, Flight Sim add-ons, where we add an economy to it, and it becomes a job, and that's what keeps it interesting for us.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I just opened that game up yesterday, and I just haven't played it since it came out, and I was just mind blown again, once again. I was flying up by Fort St. John in BC, I think it is, or Alberta. I wasn't quite sure where it was, but it's crazy. It's an amazing game. I wish I had more time to get into it with the economy. I know at one point I think I did sign up. I just never went further with it. But
I
James,
wish.
oh,
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
I wish I had the computer capacity for it because the sheer fact that I can fly from. We have a little airport. It's not an international airport. I mean, they fly out maybe 5 planes a week, but I can go from that airport, fly 10 minutes up the road, and see my house on the sim with my truck sitting in the parking in the driveway. That's awesome. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I did the same thing when I got it. It had my parents' house. It wasn't like detailed. It was just the box was there, the layout
Right.
was there, but it was cool. It was really cool, and it's nice to see. Here it is, 2021. We can do this. What's going to happen in 10 years when the next major flight sim comes out?
Exactly. Or the next sim anything. The technology it's developing more and more every single day.
So, James, got a question. A lot of people's been asking, and I mean, I know the answer, but when is the boss man coming back? I mean, everyone's asking, where's James? Where's James? James needs to come back. I mean, are we going to see you come back in the fall of 2021, or are we talking about 22?
It's all about work, right? That's what it comes down to. Um,
100%.
and I just in my business and my job, I don't know what's coming next week or the week after. So I could be back in a couple of weeks. I could be back in 6 months or maybe a year. I mean, most likely in the fall when things slow down, I'll have a lot more time. That's usually the way it goes. But COVID's really thrown a curveball into everything, right? And it's until that's over, who knows?
100%. Especially us going red tonight. Should be interesting.
Yeah, it's just it's not looking any better for us right now in the short term, and even long term. It's still gonna be a while before things change drastically. So
Oh
until
yeah.
that's over, it's so hard to predict what's gonna happen. I just don't know.
Yeah. That's fair enough. I mean, we all got lives. We all got work to do. Got to bring the bread home on the table.
Well, and that's always been one of the core things for our group right from day one when Tim and I started it was family life outside of sim. Everything comes first, no matter what. It's always been if you need to drop it and go and do it, and we'll be here when you get back. And that goes for the top owners right down to the brand new player.
Yeah, and
I agree.
that's why I appreciate with you too, because like you understand so well. When I came to you a couple weeks ago, I'm like, look, I'm done trucking. I'm hanging the towel up for a while because I will look at my hours on it. And I think I put in 350 to 400. It's 420, but I know for sure this last year I put in at least 350 to 400 hours on it. After a while, I'm burning out now, and
Yeah, we don't even question it. That's been the
so
policy right from day one is people have to do what they have to do, and it's all about keeping ourselves happy in life. That's why we come here to do this.
You
yeah,
know what I like most about this group, and granted, I'm just on the racing side, but my favorite thing about this group is individually down to each individual person. It comes down to do whatever you have fun doing. If you don't want to race this week, don't race. If you don't want to sign into the truck simulator today, American Truck Sim, Euro Truck Sim, you don't have to, you know? And I love it. It's just we're close knit. When I invite people here, I say you're not joining just a group. This is like a community. It's a family. And I mean, yeah, we want people to show up for the races or whatever for the when we do team hauls and stuff like that. But if you can't, you can't. I mean, it's not the end of the world, and I really like that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a must have for us. It's been that way from day one, and it has to stay that way. That's one of the core values.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it's simming. It's a sim, but what were games designed for? Fun, and that's what we promote the most, and I love it.
yeah. That's why I mean this is one reason why I love the racing side of things because it's set in stone. This is the time, you know. If I run in two different series, well, it's only two times a night throughout the week. The rest of the week, I can do what the fuck I want. Oh, excuse my language. And
And
yeah, go ahead, Tanner.
you got it.
Yeah, and just do whatever I want. It's just flexibility, you know. Um, and going forward with racing team and stuff, I just feel like if I don't cut it off, what's more important, I feel like I won't be a full 100% potential and all the other things. And it's not fair for everybody. So
And to kind of piggyback on the perfectionist side of James, like we between Five Kings Motorsports, we do shoot. I mean, there's weeks where we do 7 league races a week, Monday through Sunday. And we're crooked line on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And experiencing the other leagues, they ran great. It ain't a shot at them, but crooked line is the most organized league that I've ever been a part of, and I've been a part of a lot of them. And I can honestly say that there's not another league or banner or race promoter. I don't know what you want to call crooked line, but just the sheer amount of organization put into this, and that started at the top, and then that's just set in stone now. Like Ryan said, it's just set in stone, and I love it, man. But just to kind of shy away from that, we'll come back to a question, James. Whenever you and Lauren Arfman, we call him Arfy, when y'all decided to start Crooked Line Racing, y'all went with a Wednesday night late model stock league, and then you said you started with 3 people. So looking back on that, with what you know now, with 2020 hindsight, is there something you wish you would have knew back then that you know now and would have done something different, or would you all just let it play out how it's played out?
No, I don't think I'd do anything different. We thought about it, and I mean, there's lots of things we could do differently, and there's lots of ways we could improve it. But no matter what you do, you're going to say the same thing. There's always something you could do better. There's always something you could do different. So looking back, I mean, we've done what we wanted to do. We created a good community of guys that want to be here and don't want to bitch and cry 24/7. We got a good admin team. We got good race team. We got good community. So we achieved what we wanted from day one. I'm happy with where we are. I'm happy with where we're headed.
Absolutely. I mean, 300 plus members with 170 racers. I mean, that kind of just speaks for itself. We got how many racing admins do we have? Six or seven? Five, really? And then admins on the other side of things. So, I mean, it's built. It's great.
Yeah, I don't know where we could really improve it a lot. I mean, there's ways we could change things, but every way I think of that I could change it, I could think of problems that'll arise out of it. So
Absolutely.
I think no matter what we do, we'd be at the same situation. It's no,
Two
we're happy. Yeah.
two solutions, and then you got 8 problems. It usually always
Yep.
works like that. So
Yeah, sometimes you don't need to fix what's not broken. It's
yeah,
just
That's an old saying.
we
Why
went
fix what ain't broken?
with a very simple concept, and we wanted to keep it simple because simple works. And everybody can come and say, well, over here they do that, and over here they do that, in real life they do this. And that's fine and dandy, but we just went with a simple concept and it works, and we're going to keep it that way.
And you know what sets this, as far as the racing side, what sets this apart from other leagues? We don't change the rules midway through the season. Yeah,
yes,
I'll be the first one to tell you from the get go. I don't like the fuel, but guess what? I don't gripe about it. It I have 40% fuel. Ryan has 40% fuel. Josh has 40% fuel. Make it work. And we're all
can't,
underneath the same rules, and it is what it is.
Well, and
can't
this is
forget
the
tires.
thing. Yeah, tires too. Yeah, don't
That's a
forget
big
that.
topic right now. Tires, tires, tires.
Well, we set the rules from the beginning. The rules are there. Everybody's encouraged to read them. Everybody has the same rules. And there was rules from the start that I didn't necessarily want, but it was trying to make a set of rules that made things interesting over everybody. And of course, there's going to be rules that one person doesn't like or here and there. And we're willing to talk about changing them, but it's not going to
Yep,
happen in the middle of the season. It's not going to
No,
happen because somebody has a hissy fit. It's not going to happen because somebody wrecks in a race and loses their number one spot. It's going to happen because at the end of the season, the admins are going to get together and pool their experience and talk about it, and we're going to make a decision that way.
yeah,
and we do listen. I mean, the whole racing discussion portion of Discord, we do take into effect people's thoughts or racers' thoughts and suggestions. Like we encourage that. We went to Oxford Plains, I think 2 seasons ago, and a lot of people wasn't a fan of it. We went to Concord last season, and we had probably about half amount of drivers show up. So Oxford Plains, Concord wasn't on the schedule this year. So I mean, we do listen to the feedback, but at the end of the day, like I said last week, we have to make the majority happy because no matter what, we'll never make everybody happy, and that's just how
exactly.
we gotta approach it.
Have,
Yeah, we run on the concept if something's broken, we'll fix it right now. If something's just got a little crack in it and you don't like the way it looks, we'll talk about it and we'll work on a fix for it.
Tanner, as much as I do with the whole Friday Night Dirt series, Wheat Sport was not the great track to start a brand new series on. I mean, we had what 10 cautions that night. Just a disaster with all these 15 new drivers that never drove with each other. I mean, for a week, I got messages saying, "Can we take it off?" Because we're going back at it the last week of the season. No, we're not changing it. I'll tell you what, season two ain't gonna have it, but we're not changing it through the season, just not because then someone else is gonna want some changes, and it's just an endless problem.
Exactly. I mean, you're exactly right.
Luckily, most people have been positive. We've run this group for a while now, and the majority of people are positive. And even when they want change, they're positive about it. They might vent at the time because they're upset, but we all know racing, especially, can draw emotions. But outside of that,
Absolutely.
most people have been really positive about things, so
Oh,
we
for
have nothing
sure.
to
That's
complain
that.
about. Yeah.
That's what I said last week whenever we asked Josh about if he would become an admin again, if he knew now what he knew then, or if he knew then what he knew now. Sorry, and I mean, we have a good group of drivers here. Yeah, like you said, racing, it tempers flare. It happens. I am a victim of that. I get mad on here. I got in a race last night, got wrecked out on lap one, left immediately. And I shouldn't do that, but I did, and so I feel for them, and that's why whenever they talk to me, one of the things I say a lot is 4 days out of the week, I am one of you. I am just a driver, just on the crooked side in my second race admin or whatever. But 4 of the other nights of the week, I'm just a racer. So I get it. I understand it completely. And that's what I think a lot of them do come to me because I'm not going to BS them. I'm going to shoot them straight. I'm going to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear sometimes. And there's been a few that's gotten mad at me about it. There's been a few that get mad at the time and then come back later and say, I appreciate that, you know? So it's just, you're never going to make everybody happy at the end of the day.
Nope, it's not
Nope,
possible.
not even worth trying.
Yeah, and I'm not just gonna take a side road on this right now. As being first time ever being an admin for racing, and having my own Friday night live series for dirt for street stocks, it's been an awesome learning curve because I went in it with like, okay, this is my vision. This is what I think is gonna be awesome. Going through it now, halfway through the season, I still think it's good. I think there's going to be a few changes going in for first week of March for season 2. We brought on Butch Baker as an admin for Dirt. The guy's got hell speed. Like, he's just the fastest guy I know. I mean, he's on my team, so I got to represent him a little bit.
Easy, big
But
guy.
anyway, it just we discussed about things that we're going to do season 2, and some people came to me and said, why are we doing 80 laps? Well, in my mind, I kind of thought it was a fair amount of laps to do on dirt. Have I ever did 80 laps prior on dirt? No. I mean, going forward, some things are going to be changed, and I mean, it's always room for improvement, but carefully we're going to adjust it to a certain way.
And here in the past few weeks, what have we done? Me, you, and Butch have been having admin meetings discussing what needs to change based on driver feedback. And that's what sets Crooked apart from other leagues.
Yeah.
James, I guess we're about 30 something minutes into this. Uh, I know Ryan may have one more question he wants to ask, but I know my final question I want to ask you. We've already discussed that it was you and Hat City Hauler, Tim, that started the whole Crooked Charters, which then went into Crooked Industries, which then spawned into Crooked Line Racing. So we are now over 300 plus active members. When you look through the landscape of Crooked Industries, Crooked Charters, Crooked Line Racing, if I mean, I don't know how else to say it besides what's next from here. Where do we go from here?
It's hard to say. I mean, we're kind of a slow grow type of group. We take our time and we see what works and we go from there. Right now, we don't have too much in the future as far as growth in our minds. We're happy with what we have, and everything's just kind of growing on its own. Our groups continue to grow within themselves as we promote them and work them, and over time, they'll keep growing. As far as new games or new adventures, as time goes, we'll get new stuff come along and we'll jump into that, I'm sure. But for now, we're just kind of staying steady and enjoying it.
So one thing I learned from you that I didn't know before I became an admin for Crooked Line Racing, your whole approach is if we're going to build something, let's make it the best it could possibly be before we touch anything else. Meaning, I mean, shoot, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday races right now, with Sunday being practice sessions for all series. In the back of my mind, I've been thinking, man, we have Thursday available. Why are we doing something for Thursday? But then you got to think, well, we're still building Monday. We're still Tuesday's still a brand new series. It's done great this season, but it's only one season in. Wednesday's been the staple. We're 4 or 5, I think 4 or 5 series in on the season's in, and then Ryan launched Dirt this season. Your whole philosophy has been, let's make something great, build it up as best we can, and then we'll move on to something else. And that's I got to remember that at times, but it's great. And as I've said 15 other times in this podcast, that's what sets Crooked apart from other leagues.
Yeah, I've got a lot of experience in online gaming and group administration, and I mean going back 25 years and in some really big groups and big communities. And one thing that'll kill a community quick is just getting in over your head too quick. And I've seen it happen so many times. Everybody wants the whole world, but you just got to take it day by day, perfect what you're working on, make sure it's polished, get it running smooth, make sure everything's good, and then move on to something else. And you've seen it happen. We built it up. We perfected Wednesday. We went to Monday. We added Tuesday. We still got to perfect those. They're doing great, but they still need a bit of polishing. Friday's brand new. Let's get it done, and then we'll see what happens.
Exactly. I mean,
I have to agree with Tanner
100%.
on that one too, because as the last couple weeks has been, go go go, like got a lot of great ideas, a lot of things we want to do, and it's just like, hey, stop for a minute here, let's think about this through, and
Well, and
so
this is my role as owner, big boss, whatever you want to call it. Is to try and keep everything reined in and kind of oversee everybody's enthusiasm. And I understand the enthusiasm, it's because it's really easy to get caught up in it. But somebody needs to kind of stand back and look at the big picture and just kind of rein that in and keep a little bit of control on it.
yeah, that's why we put a pin on that kind of idea that we kind of had going on till summertime at least to think about it then. So,
Yeah, and growth isn't a bad thing. I mean, I look forward to growth.
yeah. Last question I want to ask James, and I know it's probably going to be an interesting conversation to have. As it stands today in 2021, what is your thoughts on social media? Is it going to help mankind? Or is it going to, destroy us all?
It's a double edged sword.
Bingo.
It's one of the greatest things around, and it's such a cancer. Um, I use it a lot. I use it for advertising. I use it for my own social life. I use it for my family life, and it's a great thing in some ways. But I also it drives an anger in me, and it creates this hatred within me and a darkness that I just hate seeing. And I see it in a lot of other people too. So it's a great tool, but it has such a horrible side to it, and it's kind of like any weapon. It can be a great thing if it's used the right way, but if it's used the wrong way, it's such a bad thing.
I want to piggyback onto that. I even said during the last week's broadcast or podcast, sorry, that I hate social media. I can't stand it. I don't like it. I use mine for my kids' pictures for memories because like today I woke up and got on my Facebook and saw I had a memory of my little boy Kane being born last year. That's awesome. I mean, I love that side of it. But then, like James said, if I was to go down and just start scrolling on my news feed, it makes me scared for my kids that are growing up in this world. I mean, it really does. Everybody has the ability to on Twitter 140 characters, I think it is. They can send that tweet out and have it potentially read by billions of people, and this that can be a good thing if used correctly, or it could be a disaster if used incorrectly.
Part of the problem with it is it's been proven is it's an addiction. And there's a dopamine release there when we open up Facebook and we see that little red notification and there's a number there. We get happy. We get excited. It's like picking up our phone and seeing there's a message there. It's been proven that it's addictive, and our society's getting more and more addicted to it. And I hate to see what the future is going to bring.
Not
Yeah, like
to one more thing, Ryan, not to show anybody's age or anything, but like back in the day when y'all would go sit down at a restaurant and eat, I mean, it was unheard of to sit there and be on your phone, right? And nowadays you look over, family of four, and mom and dad sitting there on their phones, and even sometimes the kids has a tablet right there too, and it's just a different world now.
Yeah, that's what scares me more than anything is this reliance we have, and even my generation's relying on it, and it's a tough thing, and it's not going to get better.
It's just
that's
going
the
to get
sad part.
worse.
It's the sad part. Not in today's society. Just no way.
Well, we say it's sad and it's going to get worse, but really, generations change all the time, right? My generation was different than my parents, my grandparents, and yours is a bit different than mine, and we all change every generation. And each older generation thinks the new stuff is sad and it's no good and it's shitty this and it's terrible they're doing this. But we all say that about the new generations,
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Yeah,
That's very
It's
true.
true.
just this is how we evolve, right? We're people, we evolve, and some of it's bad, no doubt, but there's always some bad with good, and that's
There's positives in it, no doubt. I mean, there's people that's made a fortune for their self and their entire family for years down the road, decades down the road from using social media, and, and that's awesome. More power to them. I myself, I don't prefer it. I don't like it.
I I agree with Tanner. Because I mean, this year I think I cleaned up over at least 100 people on my Facebook. I mean, back in the day in high school, I mean, I thought like any other kid, the more friends you get on Facebook, the cooler you're gonna be, more popular you're gonna be. I mean, I had a lot of people on there. I knew them, but I didn't know them. You know what I mean? Like, and I did a real big cleanup on my Facebook, and even to this day, like I love social media as far as advertising goes. I think advertising. If I wasn't in the career I am now, I would have went into advertising because I love it.
It's
I
so
love the
easy.
graphical work.
It's
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 easy
easy.
and it's my thing. I do hate social media to the point now. I kind of get sick of it. I mean, yeah, you may see me share a meme, but when it comes down to it, like I just don't like it anymore. The
Back in
social part of it.
back in the day when we would have family reunions, the old men, I don't know how y'all's would do it, like, but like my grandpa and say his brother and his brother, they would sit off in the corner and they would talk weather, Kentucky basketball, golf, politics. Now, I know we don't hit on politics in here, and that's great because I love it. But now, Facebook, social media, it is everybody is so indulged in politics that if I don't support what you support, I'm a bad person. And everything has sides now, and that's the thing I hate most about social media.
But
I've been friends with y'all for well over a year now, and we could go vote tomorrow, and I don't think none of us know where we're voting, and that's perfect. I love it like that, you know. But it's not
yeah,
like that on social media.
But at the end of the day, we're all responsible for our actions, and we can each turn that off. We choose to use it, and so when you choose to do something, you have to live with the consequences, and we do that every day. We read through Facebook or what other platform.
100%.
Right. I mean, that's true.
Words are a powerful weapon in today. I mean, just look at the news and going forward with the news really affects what social media does because it's what is relevant today. So
Just a little sidebar. I actually ordered me a shirt today that says defund the media. Thought that was funny. But yeah. But James, I'll be honest, I've enjoyed getting to know you. There's been many times where I went on Facebook and we've sat here and talked, and I know one night we talked for about an hour, and I appreciate your friendship, buddy. I appreciate you bringing me into Crooked. We had a little spat. I left, nothing to do between me and you, but I came back. You welcomed me back with open arms, and that'll never be forgotten. And I, I'm grateful Ryan asked me to be a part of this podcast, and I'm thankful you came on. Wish we could have got you last week, but I understand that, like you told me before we went live, you're working 55 to 75 hours a week. I mean, that's a lot of man hours right there, and we get it. But I'm very, very thankful to have you on this week, James.
I have to second that too, James. Just can't thank you enough. I mean, you open up a whole new world when it comes to sim racing for me. You told me 5 years ago I should do some trucking, do some fireman, lay down the shooter games, and I'm like, man, I'm not gonna get involved in that. It's not my thing. And I kind of got hooked, and right after COVID, it became a thing, and it's just been a nonstop. And then iRacing came about, and it hasn't stopped. And I'm really grateful for that, and just I can't thank you enough for letting me run my own series. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, we've liked having you guys. Your enthusiasm's great. That's what we look forward to. People that want to be here, people that enjoy being here. We don't want people that are unhappy. We want people that come here because they want to come here.
And I mean, like racing and crooked line racing, we're always recruiting, obviously, but like, not only is it fun, I met 4 to 5 people in crooked line that I consider my best friends. So much so that we started a group text together. We were running officials with each other, and then before we knew it, we had a team thrown together, and that's all because of what you helped build from the ground up. So we
I,
appreciate it. I'm glad to have you on. If you could, show support to Crooked Line Racing on Facebook, Five Kings Motorsports, Bolstridge Motorsports. He just uploaded a website. But other than that, I think I'm about done here. How about yourself, Ryan?
I have one last question, and we're gonna end this
Let's hit
podcast.
it. Let's hit it.
James, 2022. If we can find the right person, is Crooked Line Racing gonna have their own team?
I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get into the team thing. It's never really come up in discussion. If people are interested, I'm obviously willing to talk about anything. I mean, people just have to approach me. That's all.
Yeah,
I know with our team, yes, we're a team, but when we invited somebody in a few weeks back, he asked, is this like other teams where we're going to have set practice a week, every week, 2 or 3 nights a week? And I just told him flat out, If that's the team you want, we're not for you. We're between Five Kings Motorsports. Yeah, we're fast. We're not the fastest. We don't go out here and win every race. And if I could have somebody that won every race, I would love to have them. But it's those guys are my buddies first. That's where it all started out. That's so with the team, it's great. It's awesome because we share setups and everything. But we did that before, and we'll continue doing it down the road. So if there's ever a Crooked Line racing team, sign me up. I'll be there. But until then, I'm Five Kings Motorsports.
Yeah, we always encourage people to represent the league as much as they can, or the group. We encourage any type of advertising. We like it. We appreciate it. Helps everybody, right? It's not self-serving. It's to help the community grow and get stronger. Team-wise, we'll see. Like I said, if anybody's interested, approach us and we'll talk about it.
Very interesting, because I've just for me, because I always love the whole rivalry of teams and stuff, coming from a Call of Duty era when I
Now we're
used to be
talking.
into it. I just would love to see it in the future, even if it's in 5 years from now. Three teams, going for a championship title in the Super League Monday nights. It'd just be awesome broadcasted. I'm dreaming
Uh,
right now, I know, but
I'll be honest, a lot of the reason why we stayed away from stuff like that is kind of why we stayed away from money races. Sometimes that good competitive enthusiasm turns into more, and it
oh
can
yeah,
become, yeah, if you get one team that's dominant all the time, or guys that are real idiots all the time, it becomes a headache. And it's one of those things I'm not against doing. It just has to be done the right way, and
exactly.
it takes some thought and consideration into it before we look into that.
And I can say, add on to the team talk. So on Tuesday nights, I am in race control, and I was up in the booth with Mark. This coming Tuesday, Rebel Racing Network will start covering our races, and I'll be up in the booth with Zach, and I'll be his co-host more than a pit road reporter. But all that aside, when we do race control, we had an incident come up where somebody thought a teammate of mine was getting favorable treatment. So that's also something that we have to watch with Five Kings because there's seven of us with two of us in race control. So teams can make the water a little murky. So we have to tiptoe with that. So like I told my teammates, Scotty Stevens last week, he's an admin for us now, and he got an EOL last week. Not to prove an example or set an example, but because he deserved the EOL. And during every driver's meeting, I have to let it be known that nobody's going to be treated any different. It's just black and white, and that's just the best way to approach it, I guess.
100%. James, thank you so much for coming to the show. I mean, Tanner did a great job on the outro. Guys, go down in the description down below. Check us out on Facebook. We're uploading every week on the Open Road podcast. Last week we didn't have the intro because that's on my part for not having the right file type. But
Killing me, Smalls.
going on Tuesday, it's gonna be awesome. Got a good intro coming in. Hope you guys like it. Don't forget to like, hit the subscribe, and see you guys next week. Peace.
We out.